Hey everyone, welcome to the S&P 500 video. Get this audio down a little bit. S&P 500 video, I want to talk a little bit about trends and how the trend is your friend until we move away from a trend, and then we've got some other trends to follow, and I want to talk about what that means. Before I get into any of this, of course, it's not financial advice. I am not your financial advisor. You're responsible for your own trades, managing your own risk, doing your own research, and I am just giving my opinion on the market. So let's go ahead and take a look at the chart. I'm going to be taking a look at the S&P 500. I'm looking at the E-mini futures, the S&P 500 E-mini futures. So let's just take a look at this chart. As you may or may not remember, I have a chart here that goes through two scenarios. We have a bullish scenario and we have a bearish scenario. I want to talk a little bit about both of those, but what I want to focus on today is the trend. Obviously the trend is up, okay? I'm looking at the 4-hour chart here on the E-mini futures, and the trend is obviously up. We had a nice impulsive move up and then a pullback, right? We had chop here, chop. This was corrective, all right? Then we had an impulsive move up, we had a pullback, and then of course we're continuing a series of impulsive moves to the upside. And at some point, we're going to get a rejection or another corrective phase. It is bound to happen. All right. So the first significant consolidation zone to pay attention to is going to be this guy right here. Okay. That is our first significant area of consolidation. That is now done. That's gone. All right. The next area of consolidation is this guy right here, which is also done. It's gone. We haven't really had a significant consolidation since these two consolidation zones. Typically when you have consolidation like this, you get the bears that are just thinking to themselves, they're starting to salivate. They think, all right, well, I'm going to short the pullback, and then you were going to expect it to go down significantly. And of course, as we know, and history is pretty clear here, that didn't happen, right? So we have a significant bottom here. We attempted to push down below 275, did not happen. We pushed up significantly all the way up to 322, all right? So all these people that were trying to short here and all of this chop, when the trend at the time is up, right? We've got a nice bottom here. We've got a bottom here, a bottom here, a bottom here, and then we move up. Okay, then what did we have? We had a bottom here. We came back. We did not quite get down here to this bottom, so this is good for a wave 2. We have a nice ABC correction here into the 2, and it went up. Okay, so this looks good, and it has been good. Now let's just take a look here, moving ourselves forward a little bit. Let's just take a look at this trend. So, I've got just a very simple pitchfork here. So I'm pulling from this dominant pivot low up here to this dominant pivot high and to the end of the correction, okay? So we've got this move up here, up at about, 296, 297, and pulling myself all the way down here, down to about 2760, so 276 if you're looking at SPY. All right, so that's where I'm pulling this from, and we have stayed inside of this channel almost the entire time. We did have a little bit of an overextension to the upside, a little bit of overextension to the downside, but this channel has stayed pretty solid. All right, and now we're talking about trend lines. So the trend is your friend. Obviously, the trend right now is up, right? Everybody wants this to happen again, right? And it may happen again. It may happen again. It almost looks like this is a nice ABC correction that is complete. We don't know. We don't know. We don't know if this is complete or not. For now, the trend is up. So even though I do expect that we are going to enter another pullback phase or another consolidation phase, I'm still paying attention to the trend. So let's take a look at this right here. So I want to focus on this guy right here for right now. So what we have right here is very similar to what we're dealing with right now. We have our trend line up here, and then we have a trend line down here where we're continuing to see, here's a low, we have a higher high, we have a higher low, we have a higher high, a higher low, then we have a much higher high. This was an overthrow. we had a clear trend. We had a touch here. We were not quite touching there. I mean, one could say that we could pull this back and take a look only at candle bodies, and that would work. We had a touch here. Then we had a little bit of consolidation. We pushed through. We overshot, and then we fell, and we broke this support. So again, at the support, we've got this touch, this touch, this touch, this touch here. Before we had our launch, then we had the rollover, and we fell down below, and we had a significant move to the downside to the bottom of this channel. And this channel has been here, right? This channel was defined all the way back. Let me clear this off. This channel was defined all the way back here, okay? So this should not have been, rocket science. When we came back down here to test this, this should have expected a decent amount of support. You should have expected some support there. And obviously we had a nice push up and off of it, a retrace back here into the overthrow zone. And again, when I refer to the overthrow zone, I'm looking at a 25% to the upside and to the downside on top of the expansion. So we have our median right here. We have our 100% to the upside, 100% to the downside, and then we do 25% on each side from a from a channel perspective, just to give it a little bit of expansion. All right, so again, we overshot. This was our 5, and that completed our wave 1. And then we have a nice corrective move down here to complete wave 2, and then we've got a 1, 2, right? So this is the bearish count. So we have a 5 waves into the A, 3 waves into the B, and then we're working on 5 waves into the C, which would indicate that we are going to be seeing lower prices. Now, the bigger question that everybody has is how much higher are we going to go? As you are all aware, I'm expecting somewhere between 3,400 and 3,700, somewhere up here, right? The chart gets a little messy up here because I've got a lot going on. I could probably remove this guy because it's already clearly defined that I think that we are finishing this 5, which means we're probably going to be entering this corrective phase. I think we are going to enter a corrective phase. Probably we're going to go back and retest this expansion. We may even go lower. Now, why do I think we're going lower? Why do I think we're potentially going lower than our current expansion? Well, at some point, the price has to move sideways and not just move up. And historically, it has just moved up, but I think the slope in which we are going now is much different than the slope we were going even back here. We were moving even more sideways back here, and this chart is moving more up than it is sideways. Now, that doesn't mean that the price can't continue just moving up, but what I can see here, let me just zoom in on this guy right here, just so we can see this. I can see that we have a little bit of a trend starting from here, moving ourselves up here. You can see we've got a touch here, a touch here, a touch here. We broke down, okay? We broke down, so we've entered a new paradigm. Then what I can see is we've got this guy right here, which I think we will probably overthrow, okay? Just like we did before. I think this will probably get overthrown. And, I could be wrong. And if I'm wrong, okay, if I'm wrong, then what do we have? We've got this guy right here. And you could even pull this in a little bit more if you'd like. But one way or another, we have a little channel. We had, some attempts to push down, and they got bought back up, and they entered inside of this little zone. Once we start closing, like an open and a close below this, then I think we're going to enter our consolidation zone. Probably are going to find our way all the way back here, maybe even as low as 327. I'm looking at 330. I'm looking at 330 for the bottom of this, and this may happen further out, maybe August 21st, right? So the 21st, if I remember correctly, is a Friday. It is a Friday. So that is not this Friday, because that's the 14th, but next Friday. I actually think that puts will probably print. And I'm not saying go and buy puts right now. That's not what I'm saying. All I'm saying is, once we do make this move up past our high, right? So our high, again, at 33.97.50. Once we make a push beyond that, and I think we probably will overthrow, and if we don't, that's okay. But I think we get to this median, right? The median on this, I think we'll probably get to it, get a rejection, and find ourselves back at 330. Or 333 potentially. But yeah, 330, maybe as low as, let's see here, that would be 330 here. This would be at 332. So I think that we will probably enter that phase of chop. It's really not a good place and not a good time to be buying options, to be honest, when we are going to be entering a corrective phase. Because when you enter a corrective phase, the price will either go up, down, or it's going to go down, up, down, up, down, up, down, and it's just going to continue consolidating and getting smaller and smaller and smaller, creating a bit of a triangle, kind of like a pennant, if you will. So I think we're going to get down here again. I would be interested in buying down here if we do make this pullback, and I think we will. But in the meantime, I still think that the trend is up one way or another. I think the trend is up. So this is the bear case again. You know, taking a look, moving ourselves out here, still taking a look at this channel, right? I can see ourselves finishing this move up here. You know, this kind of takes us all the way up to 35.50. Okay, taking ourselves to 35.50, pulling back significantly, getting ourselves out of this channel, and then doing a retest even as high as 3,700. Okay, 3,700 seems kind of crazy to say that, but I think that could be the completion of this C, which would be completion of a larger B wave. So let me just pull back on this so we can see this with more clarity. So what I've got here is an A working on a B, and then we see a C down here. Again, continuing constantly to look at elections. I'm going to continue looking at elections until we get there. We won't know what's going to happen. Again, this is a bear case. I'm going to go and take a look at my bull case here in just a moment. But this is going to continue to be the bear case, which, you know, even though that this is a bear case, doesn't mean that the price can't continue to go up. And I do think that it will continue to go up a little bit. But again, we're still targeting 35.50 to 3,700. You know, again, I think that after we complete this wave 3, the pullback here is going to take us out of this channel, which is going to be a bearish sign, and then we move up, we retest the lower of this channel, and then we fall. That's the bear case. Let's take a look at the bull case here. The bull case is, you know, similar as far as the count, but instead of this being an A, B, I've got this labeled as a 1, 2. So basically what we've got here is a big 1, 2, another 1, 2, and a little 1, 2, and we're working on the 3. Now, from this 2, the count is the same. We've got a 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 into the 3. We go down for the 4, then we go up for the 5. But the bigger difference here is we're working on the wave 3. Okay, we're working on a wave 3, which means we have significantly higher to go. Now, don't get too caught up in the bull case either. You know, we're looking at short trends, and if you are, you know, even thinking about playing options, you need to be careful not to, you know, not to get too far out there as far as being out of the money. Even though I think it's possible for us to get these prices as high as 4,000, 4,100 on SPY, this is going to take some time. And it's still possible for this to happen by the election as well. We're going to have to see some significant move to the upside though. Like we've got to make our way up here to 3,700 with just a little pullback here, just a little pullback. You know, again, we're still looking at that 33, almost 3,400. This isn't tagged correctly. I'm going to go ahead and just fix this because it's going to bother me. This guy actually belongs right there at 33.9750. So again, we're keeping an eye on that. If we push through this with enough force, we can reclaim this as support, and then we can see higher prices, and that would be very, very bullish. For the time being, you know, I have to favor the bearish scenario, which still has us coming up to 3,700, but that would be where things stop. The bullish case has us going, you know, again, up to about 37, a little higher than 37, but pulling back and then finding support basically where we're at right now, and then having a significant move to the upside, maybe a blow off top, if you will, to get ourselves all the way up here to 4,000 to 4,050. And from there, we do a pullback to wave 4, which would take us back down here to 35.50. And then we see the ultimate move to the upside, which is, you know, maybe even as high as 4,800, 4,900. This would be very rare for us to see prices this high, but, you know, it's possible. I've got both scenarios on the table. I've got both scenarios that I'm keeping an eye on because we don't know which way it's actually going to go. We don't know which way the elections are going to go. We don't know how society is going to handle the elections. There's just a lot of unknowns and uncertainties. One thing that we do know is that there are two scenarios for every trade. There's the one where it goes up and the one where it goes down. The one where you make money, the one where you lose money. And it's best for you to manage your risk appropriately. You'll want to definitely have stop losses for these. And again, as far as the stop loss would go for this bearish scenario where we're still planning on it going up, right? You've got a clear stop loss, an open and close below this trend line here. And I mean an open and a close, and I'm on a 4-hour, right? So we had an open down here, but we closed inside of it. Same thing here. We opened down here, but we closed inside of it. So this was not bearish to see these moves down. These were just traps. We want to see an open and a close like we saw right here. This candle right here on July 23rd, the 1400 hour or the 4-hour candle there. Open and close, and then we rolled over. Okay, then we created a new channel, a new trend. So we're still up here. We're still inside of a red zone, which again, we've outlined this red zone since, all the way back here. We were keeping an eye on this up here, and we are now finding a little bit of resistance. Even if I go to an hourly chart, we're starting to see a formation of a lower high on the hourly, right? Doesn't necessarily mean that the price is going to go down. It could certainly go down, but what I can see, we've got this that we reclaim some support here. Again, just looking at the low time frames, you've got this on the hourly to pay attention to. Right there, that is a good retest of support, in my opinion. And we bounced off of it pretty well. So if you're in SPY, if you're playing SPY or futures or whatever it may be, a good stop loss right here at the low of the day, which is going to be at about 33.50. 33.50, 33.55, or if you're playing SPY, 335.50 or 335, that's going to be a good place to do a stop loss. If you are trying to short the market, right, you're going to want to have a stop loss here at the high of the day, which is going to be right up here at about the 379, 33.80 or 338 on SPY. So we're right here inside of this zone. So, there's a trade in either way. Either way you look at it, there's going to be a trade here. It's just whatever your bias is. My bias right now, short term, is up. I do think that we are going to see an overthrow of the highs. You're going to see the news pick it up. Mainstream media is going to pick this up, and they're going to run with it. They're going to say, SPY, the S&P, is seeing all-time highs. And you're going to see the president go out and talk about it. He's going to say, the S&P 500 is creating all-time highs. The economy is great. Is it? Is it, though? I think evidence, both leading and lagging indicators are going to prove otherwise, that we don't have as good of an economy as what people say. So for now, this market's going to continue to move up, in my opinion. You've got your stop loss down here, and also if you're trying to short, you've got your stop loss up here. You got a tight zone. We're talking, just from 33.50 up to 33.75. So you're talking only about 25 points here. Not a real big range. So it could be, it could work out to to kind of do a straddle where you're doing maybe calls and puts or buying equity or shorting, whatever it may be, whatever your flavor is. We're starting to approach an area where we should be seeing some resistance. And if we push through it with a decent amount of volume, then I'll change my opinion. But for right now, I think when we hit this median, if we hit this median, once we do an overthrow of the high, we're going to do a pullback. From there, I still think we bounce back up, but this is just my opinion for right now. We'll take it day by day. So I think that's it. I think I've lost some of the attention from some of you guys. I'm starting to see you guys drop off. So I'm going to go ahead and end the video right now. If this video did help you in any way, shape, or form, like, subscribe, share, and all of that. And of course, wherever you are in the world, I hope you're having a good day, a good night,